Disclaimer: the following narrative is based on open source reports and public claims.
For months, sometimes even years, Western media has painted Russian-controlled cities as dark, lifeless places. Cities described as lawless, frozen in fear, and completely broken. The message is repeated again and again. Once Russian forces arrive, civilian life instantly collapses. Headlines, expert panels, and breaking news segments reinforce the same image, leaving global audiences with a single impression: total destruction and endless misery. But what if this picture is incomplete? What if reality on the ground is far more complex than the story we're constantly told? This brings us to a simple but uncomfortable question. Does this narrative actually reflect what's happening on the ground? Are all Russian-controlled cities truly unlivable zones with no functioning society? Or is there a reality that rarely makes it into Western headlines? Today, we're taking a closer look at daily life inside these cities and examining why Western media narratives often feel overly simplified, emotionally charged, and disconnected from the civilian experience. Western reports frequently describe these areas as permanent zones of terror. Yet footage from local residents, independent journalists, and civilian testimonies often tells a different story. The contrast is striking. While conflict is undeniable, the idea of total collapse doesn't always match what's being documented. These inconsistencies rarely receive serious attention, largely because they challenge a narrative that Western audiences have already accepted as unquestionable truth. In several Russian-controlled cities, civilian life continues under difficult but functional conditions. Local markets operate, public transportation resumes, and essential services slowly return. Schools and hospitals remain open, even with limitations. People go to work, buy food, and raise their families. This doesn't mean life is easy, but it clearly shows that society hasn't vanished. Life adapts, even under military control and ongoing uncertainty. This reality directly challenges Western portrayals of these areas as dead zones. No one claims conditions are ideal. War always leaves scars. But reducing entire cities to images of hopelessness erases the lived experiences of civilians who continue to survive and adapt. Such oversimplification may be effective for political messaging, but it fails to represent the full picture on the ground. Western media often assumes that Russian control automatically means total civilian suffering, but many residents see things differently. For them, global politics and ideological battles come second. What matters most is stability, living without constant shelling, fear, and chaos. These civilian priorities rarely fit neatly into Western narratives, so they're often ignored or minimized. For people living in conflict zones, the question isn't who wins diplomatic arguments abroad. It's whether the electricity stays on, water keeps flowing, and explosions stop shaking their neighborhoods. This human reality clashes with ideological storytelling. Western narratives often frame the conflict in moral absolutes, while civilians focus on survival and normalcy. That gap is where understanding breaks down. Some residents even report improved security compared to periods of intense fighting. Checkpoints exist and control is tighter, but for many this is seen as a trade-off for relative calm. Order in this context isn't always viewed as oppression. It can also mean fewer gunfights, fewer explosions, and fewer surprises. These nuances rarely appear in Western reporting. The real issue isn't only what Western media reports, it's what it leaves out. Civilian voices that don't support the dominant narrative are often sidelined or treated with suspicion. When daily life appears functional, those stories are dismissed as irrelevant or untrustworthy. As a result, global audiences receive a narrow version of reality, stripped of complexity. Modern wars aren't fought only with weapons. They're fought with narratives. Language, framing, and repetition shape public perception. Control the story, and you control how the world understands the conflict. In this information war, Western media often presents its version as the only legitimate truth, while alternative perspectives are quickly labeled dangerous or misleading. Life in Russian-controlled cities isn't a simple story of good versus evil. There is fear and hardship, but also adaptation, routine, and resilience. Civilians continue living in conditions far from ideal, navigating a reality that rarely fits into political soundbites. Ignoring this complexity leads to shallow understanding and emotional reactions instead of informed discussion. So the real question isn't who's politically right, it's whether we're willing to see the full reality. Do we want to understand what's actually happening on the ground, or just repeat the most comfortable narrative? If you're looking for a more balanced perspective, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Western media oversimplifies life inside Russian-controlled cities?